I don't think there's anything that's certain in the world at the moment. There's a lot that can change, there's a lot that can happen. And I think that is in the back of your mind every time I'm going into work.
Adult trauma, ETA 5 minutes.
Got an assault coming in. He's stabbed multiple times.
5-year-old hit by a car, dragged for 3 metres, degloved the right side of their scalp. Code red.
They're now saying partial amputation with a traumatic cardiac arrest.
This is just disastrous.
Travel by cow. I can't make that up.
Oh, it's a proper day today, isn't it?
St George's, London, one of Britain's busiest A&E departments, under more pressure than ever.
What are you doing?
It does sometimes feel like a battlefield, and it feels like a losing battle at times as well.
You need to calm yourself down.
I have 10 traumas and absolutely no space.
25-year-old jump from a 3rd floor balcony.
This is the point where we can make a difference.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
A place where life,
Best place to make friends, A&E.
love, and loss
Scariest thing in my life. I thought I lost it.
unfold every single day.
A life is not just a singular thing. Things that happen to you have a huge effect on the people around you as well.
You scare me so much, you know that?
All the patients you're about to see were treated in just one 24-hour period.
I see behaviour every day that reaffirms my belief in the inherent goodness of people.
It's all a bit of a shock, isn't it?
And I think I'm incredibly fortunate to work in that environment.
It's a lot to take in. He's the love of my life.
A man has been airlifted to hospital after coming off his motorbike in Latchington. The bike was involved in a collision with a car in Cold Norton Road. A pillion passenger on the bike was also seriously hurt.
There's a knock on the door, and there's a policeman. He said, "I'm really sorry to tell you, but your dad and brother had a really bad motorbike accident." And they've been airlifted to different hospitals. My heart just fell. How do you decide? How would you decide who to go to?
Hello, St George's. RTC, yep. Back seat on motorbike. Into ditch, yes. And are you coming by air? Right, OK.
All right.
It is a RTC, back seat on a motorbike, ejected into a ditch, coming by air.
OK.
Male trauma, 15 minutes.
Facial injuries.
Can I activate the helipad for 15 minutes, please?
People on motorbikes are relatively unprotected, so the amount of kinetic energy that's been absorbed when a motorbike hits a stationary object means that they will have significant injuries.
The rider of the motorbike is being taken to a hospital in East London. His 48-year-old son, who was riding pillion when the crash happened, is being flown to St George's.
Lifted routing St George's.
Motorbiking it is something that they both really enjoyed. But I would worry. The journey down was absolutely the worst journey I've ever made in my life. I kept thinking, but it's Mum's funeral tonight. What am I going to do? We didn't know who was injured worse. But Tony was vulnerable.
Motorbike versus car. He was the backseat driver of the motorbike, thrown about 6 meters into the ditch. In terms of injuries, he has a query closed humerus fracture on the left, query fracture of the femur on the right, pain on the left hip. There's several scars on his body from a previous accident.
Okay, shall we break the scoop at the top and then scoop out?
Out on brace. Ready, steady, brace. Okay, what's your name?
Can you take a deep breath, Tony, for me?
Yes.
Good. Do you know where you are? Okay. Do you know what month is this? Okay. Follow my finger. Follow my finger.
If we are suspecting a serious brain injury, it will be time critical. They will either die or they will have serious consequences if that injury is not dealt with immediately. Okay, I've ordered the CT. I've said to include head to pelvis.
From the point when the policeman knocked on the door, I didn't know if I was coming or going. Been through all this before, and this time it's going to be without Mum.
All right, sweetie, we're going to slide you across. Ready, steady, slide.
Tony was airlifted to St George's after the motorcycle he was riding as a passenger crashed.
Okay, so it's going to scan your head and neck first, okay?
Doctors have brought him to CT to check for any life-changing injuries to his head, neck and pelvis.
What's your story?
He's a pillion passenger motorcyclist. He's gone flying into a ditch.
What happens to the rider?
The driver of the motorcycle has been taken to the Royal London.
Ugh.
Tony's father was driving the motorbike when the collision happened.
Breathe in and hold your breath.
Tony's sister is currently en route to St George's.
Breathe normally.
I was 4 when Tony came along. He loved nothing better than to tell tales on me. I took him in his pushchair down to the local shops and left him there. So, according to my mum, I was the naughtiest person alive. Tony was never in as much trouble as I was. He adored the ground she walked on, and she adored him.
What the hell is that?
Remember, we were growing up in the late 70s, early 80s, in a little village in Essex. Unless you had parents with a car, you couldn't get anywhere. So when he learnt to drive, he got himself it was an Escort RS 2000, I think, which was a bright lime green. He hadn't been driving long, he was just turned 18. I went out in it a couple of times with him. He was a good driver. He was a good driver. It was just a really unfortunate thing that happened, and it could happen to anyone.
What the?
Breathe normally.
What? He's got metalwork already.
A puppy ran out in front of him. He broke and swerved, but it was on a corner. So as he swerved, the car rolled, and it rolled into a tree on the edge of the park, and the roof flattened to the floor with Tony in it. He hit his head really hard on the strut on the side of the car. Mum was in pieces. Unbelievable. I couldn't take it in.
Is that broken?
Yeah, I think it has.
Oh, it's come out.
Doctors are concerned that Tony has a severe fracture to his pelvis and dislocation of his hip.
Okay, sir. We are all finished, all right? No worries, sir. We'll get you back onto the bed and back to the doctors, all right?
They must now wait for the results of the scans to see whether he has any internal bleeding or other injuries.
Tatuś, co to jest napisane?
Exam 2.
A co to jest napisane?
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Kotek!
Harry?
12-year-old Harry has come into A&E with his parents after injuring his leg.
So what happened?
So he was taking part in a cycle track racing event at Herne Hill Velodrome.
When was that?
This afternoon. I don't know if any of the others were referred to St George's, but there was a big crash.
Oh, was it?
4 or 5 one-wheel touches.
About 10 went down, I
Yes,
think.
maybe about 10. 4 or 5 were the worst.
There were like 5 ambulances.
Oh, wow.
It's awful when you watch these things. It does go into a bit of a slow motion moment. And you do watch them just literally go head over heels off the bike, fall on another kid on another bike, you know. I was really scared.
So where does it have? It's actually the left thigh, isn't it?
Yeah.
We were one of the last of our sets of friends to start a family. We'd been married 10 years. We knew we were ready to start a family. We really hoped it would just happen.
On this side, do you get any weird sensation on the foot?
No.
We've spent quite a long time in trying, actually. About 4 or 5 years.
And let me have a quick look, okay?
We had Harry. So like a lot of couples, we were looking at things like IVF.
Oh, that's painful, isn't it?
Very difficult thing, really, to talk about even now.
Now, I want you to keep this leg straight and lift it up.
But then, the day before we were meant to go off and see somebody, just realised that perhaps I might be pregnant. So I went and took a test, and I was pregnant.
Okay. That's good, that's good. Now, will you be able to bend your left knee?
Despite the fact we were both really happy, I had that this might go wrong at any moment feeling.
Can you push me?
So when he did come along, I couldn't believe other people left houses with babies. I was so kind of like, oh, you know.
Okay. Yeah, there is a big bruise there. So we do an X-ray to make sure that it's not broken.
Lots of doctors and health workers, the one thing they would always say about him was, isn't he alert? Almost meerkat-like, kind of like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, you can put them back on.
And I would say, well, great that he's alert. Good. But everybody is different, so you can't predict how things will be.
So what we'll do, we'll X-ray any medical problems in the past.
We mentioned about anxiety things.
Anxiety. Okay.
Stuff.
That's okay. Okay. Let me go and do that and I'll come back, okay?
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you.
Still a bit shaky with my leg and stuff.
Oh, no.
Oh, so I'm going to have to come back to you on it. Hello, St George's. You're speaking to the ECN in charge of research today. Oh, I didn't know about that at all.
St George's is one of the 4 major trauma centres in London. They are centres of excellence. They are places equipped to deal with the worst types of trauma.
Lovely, OK. All right, so you guys, we're aware and you're 5 minutes away. Thank you very much.
So when patients are sent from another hospital, they will often tell us that it's something that they feel needs more specialist care.
Adult trauma, 6 minutes.
A hospital in Surrey is transferring a 31-year-old woman to St George's after she was kicked in the leg by a horse.
I spoke to the consultant at Royal Surrey, and this is a lady who was on a horse. There was another horse that came and kicked her while she was on that horse.
That's unfortunate.
She's got an isolated open tibial fracture.
Okay.
Anybody who has an open fracture has a high risk of infection. If infection gets in or bacteria gets into the bone, that is extremely difficult to treat. The worst case scenario is loss of limb.
Oh my God! Oh. Guys, can we just get some morphine drawn up? Yeah. Is that all right? Thanks.
When people come into resus, a lot of the time they're not aware of the implications of that injury. They just know that they're hurt. Their priority is their pain.
Hello, sweetheart. Hello.
Hi.
My name is Christina. I'm one of the nurses here. And what's your name?
Allison.
Allison. I'm going to give you this very slowly, okay? All right?
Yeah. Good pain relief is an extremely important part of caring for people, especially those who've had trauma. And in the moment that they need that care, I actually can do something about it.
Are you okay? Your arm okay as I'm giving that to you?
Yeah, it's just pain in my leg.
Pain in your leg,
yeah.
Allison must now wait to be examined by specialist orthopaedic doctors who will assess the open fracture on her leg.
Do you remember what happened today?
It's tore out. I've been in a bad way. Bad.
Tony was rushed to CT after displaying the symptoms of a brain injury and damage to his pelvis.
Just ask him about this dysarthria and the fact that did he have any brain injuries previously?
Tony, your speech difficulties, is that, what's caused that? Was that after a previous accident or how long ago?
I was 18.
So about 30 years ago?
If they've had a previous brain injury, it may not be immediately obvious.
Sorry.
Sometimes it's difficult for us to establish fully whether the difference is in how they respond because of an old injury or from a new injury. We don't want to assume that they are acting this way because of issues with their capacity.
He's got shortened and externally rotated limb. He probably has the fractured dislocation of his left humerus as well.
Okay, if you order any secondary x-rays.
Doctors will now take further x-rays of Tony's hip and damaged shoulder.
They are not going on their motorbike again.
His sister and niece have arrived at St George's.
When he had his car accident all those years ago, the shock more than anything was the fact that he was unconscious. Expected to be able to speak to him, but couldn't. You know, when you hear people in comas, you think, well, okay, a day, 2 days. And then, you know, it gets to a week and there's still no change. And you think, well, it's going to happen soon. How long does it take for someone to come out of a coma? Even with their full-time jobs, they used to watch him every day, talking to him, playing music and massaging his feet and his hands and his legs and just spending time with him. Within 4 months, he'd lost all of his muscle and all of his weight and he was down to about 7 stone. Well, Mum was almost at a point of nervous breakdown by now, so Dad took Mum away for a week, and while they were away, Tony actually, it was the first time he woke up. And he just said, "Deb, have I died?" And I said, "No, you're still alive." And I explained he'd had an accident. Phoned Mum and explained to her that that had happened, and she was over the moon. She just wanted to come home. But that was I suppose, the beginning and the end of Tony as we knew him. And that was hard, really hard.
How are you feeling with that morphine at the moment?
I'm still feeling a lot of pain in my leg.
Personal trainer Allison was transferred to St George's after a horse riding accident in Surrey.
Direct blow kicked by a horse while on a horse.
They are going to start looking at your leg a little bit, OK? So.
Specialist orthopaedic doctors have come to Resus to examine the open fracture on her left leg.
Hello.
Hello.
I've heard that you've been kicked directly by a horse on your leg.
Yeah.
What did you do to the horse?
Nothing, but I'm going to turn it into a burger later.
What do you do for a living?
Personal trainer.
I was never a girly girl. When we were children, we were always climbing trees, getting muddy.
Can you wiggle your toes for me, please?
When I was 6, my dad got me into taekwondo. I couldn't say that it wasn't probably the best time of my life. I'm black belt, second dan. I've got a European championship. I don't want to, paint myself into being, some sort of sensei or anything. I just like to fight, to be honest with you. Going out there and being on the mats and getting to batter 7 bells out of someone and with very little regard to their safety was really cathartic. And I think it got me through some of the, the harder times of my life.
Can't feel? Should I have a look with ultrasound?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Should we bring the ultrasound?
If they can't find a pulse, it means that they're very concerned about the ability for arterial blood flow to get down to that part of the foot. That's a medical emergency. If the nature of the fracture has severed arteries, and if you don't have a good blood supply to any area of the body, the tissues will die.
Gonna feel a little bit cold on your foot. I'm gonna use the ultrasound machine to find your artery.
Okay. I like to be fit. I like to always be doing something active. Being able to run and row and push weights and swim and jump and horse ride is everything to me. It is who I am.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what life would be for me without that.
I think we should make a bet. I think we should...
No betting in paediatrics.
Why?
Kids don't like to gamble. It's not good for children. Bribery's fine. I bribe my biscuits the whole time, but they don't know it's bribery. They think I'm being nice, but it is bribery.
All the time.
It's different.
All the time I do that.
Yes, straight through here.
Harry hurt his leg in a 10-bike pile-up at his local velodrome.
Which leg is it, the sore?
This one.
Your left one.
He's been taken for an X-ray to check if he has any fractures to his femur.
Have you ever done this done before?
No.
No? No, don't be scared. Nothing to be worried about, OK?
OK.
This is going to make a weird noise.
OK.
That's it. Done. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Not painful, was it?
No.
A bit of luck. We'll see immediately now what's going on. So we'll know then.
Go to school tomorrow.
Despite the fact that he's actually very, very bright, very academic, and he's good at physics, and hopefully will get good GCSEs at the moment, he is quite unhappy at school. Very unhappy, in fact, unfortunately. Okay. All children who don't necessarily see they fit a mould, I think, struggle at school.
Stay seated in there for the moment, because he might not need you to go back on the bed.
Weird. That's a word he uses a lot about himself. He didn't really make friends at all in the first year. You know, so he had some quite down days. You know, that's just awful. But once the cycling came along, he was so happy on a bike. It really changed him. So I hope he gets back on the bike. I don't want him to stop because of an accident.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
Oh, wow, how quick can you fix that?
My record is 26 seconds.
26 seconds.
Yeah, that's my record.
Wow, amazing. So basically, he's not broken anything.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Great.
there is a bit of swelling around where his muscle is on that side. So what we need to do is, so ice can help, painkillers, rest. Okay.
He's meant to be in school tomorrow, of course.
Yeah, I would give him a rest, unless you're desperate to go to school.
Well, OK, good news all round, so you get your day off. That's me being mean, get you to school. Oh well. Yeah, okay. Great, no, that's brilliant.
I'm just going to send one of my colleagues down here with the crutches.
OK,
okay?
Fantastic, thank
is
you
that
very
okay?
much.
And I'm done.
Yeah, of course,
Thanks.
brilliant.
Thank
We're very
you.
happy,
Thank
brilliant. Yay.
Cycling, it can be dangerous. But it's really great when you find the thing you can do.
Right, which is your bag? This one.
And particularly at the club, there are actually quite a lot of other children who are much more similar in personality to Harry.
Did you really not use them before?
Yeah.
And they are a really, really good set of friends, and they all accept him for who he is, and that's brilliant.
OK, going round to here, back out the way we came.
So we are still waiting for the formal report, basically, for his back.
48-year-old Tony was thrown from the back of a motorbike ridden by his father.
See if I can get the number for Grandad's hospital.
Tony's father is currently in recovery at another London hospital.
Remember all this, sitting up with Nanny, waiting for Tony, coming out of theatre. Because of the brain damage. And after his car accident, it was 24-hour care. All his coordination was gone. He had to learn to walk again. He couldn't speak properly, he was extremely slurred.
That's it. Pull my hand towards you.
It was devastating for him, but also the realisation of he's not going to be what he was. And, you know, you've got to watch him go through that process. And that was hard. That was really hard. One day he'd be extremely angry, the next day he'd be extremely unhappy and miserable. The next day he was full of life, and the next day he didn't want to live anymore. But Mum and Dad never accepted that this is what he's going to be. And they just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and I think Tony got through it. It's because of Dad's perseverance and Mum's power and her strength.
Doctors now have Tony's final CT and X-ray reports.
I haven't seen any fractures in the neck.
He has no serious injury to his neck or spine.
Take this one off, sir, okay?
Main injuries, left shoulder fracture dislocation, femur injury, and his fracture dislocation of his hip. With a pelvic injury, one of the main dangers is blood loss. Depending on how significant the injury is, it may need to go to surgery straight away.
We need to deal with your injuries because this pelvis is badly broken. So we're going to have to put a pin into your thigh bone so that it helps to pull your hip back into position. Okay? This shoulder is out as well, so we need to put it back into socket. Okay, so we'll do all of this when you're asleep. Yes. That one I don't know because it's in a different hospital.
Can you hear me? Granddad's in recovery. He's out of surgery. Yeah, so... and that's just where we're at the moment.
Tony is not only my son, he's my best friend. And when someone is incapacitated the way he was, you start to think of, well, what type of life are they going to lead? I don't like the idea of him being totally stuck indoors. I don't like the idea of him having a safe life where you're not in any danger or because you've never achieved or tried anything any different.
Can you just have a quick look at his back? Would you be able to turn that side, sir?
Motorcycling was my hobby. And Tony said, well, what's it like, Dad? So I said, well, I'll give you a little trip round the block if you want. And so he got on.
No pain anywhere here, yeah?
And he said, I love it. Oh, Dad, he says, I love it. And it was his first insight into a bit of a social life, getting out and about again and being accepted. My wife and I wanted to give him his chance.
The funeral's been cancelled for tomorrow. There's no point having it until Gran and Tony are able to leave hospital. Before Mum's death, she was there for Tony throughout her life. Throughout her life, without a doubt. Even to the point when she went into hospital. What she was doing was that she would be strong enough and okay enough to be for Tony if something happened to my dad. So, yeah.
Another hospital has received her as a trauma, and she has then been transferred to us for specialist care.
Yeah.
Doctors are concerned about lack of blood flow below the open fracture of Allison's leg.
Is there any chance I can get like a little bit of water or something?
Yeah. Can we give her a little bit of water?
A lot of people who have got a very bad injury, what that comes with is fear.
But I can't get the proper flow in it.
To me, fear and pain go hand in hand. You can give people medicine, you can give them major surgery, but in the moment that they're frightened, you go into, OK, what can I do for you?
Are you cold? Do you want a blanket, sweetie?
Don't apologise for having a human emotion.
Yeah, there's a good pulse. There's a very good pulse. Tibialis posterior. It's a very good pulse.
Okay.
Being different, it's hard. When I was younger, I was a proper ginger. I was the geeky one that, you know, liked dinosaurs and PE, and yeah, school was just a nightmare for me. I was bullied all the way through school, beaten up a couple of times. Ah! Fuck. But it wasn't the physical stuff that hurt. It was just being excluded from things and the name calling and having stuff out of my bag nicked. Those little things were the ones that hurt the most. The bullying really made me feel worthless. You know, I felt like I was the only one suffering. So I used to self-harm, like, quite a lot. Used to cut myself, used to burn myself. All up both my arms, it's covered in scars. I don't know why that's where I went when, you know, I needed to be upset. But that's where it went. I know that I did what I had to do at the time. But being here now and looking back, I wish I could have done something differently or found someone to talk to. I think that probably would have been much better.
I've requested the X-ray. She needs to go for the X-ray. You want a porter? I'll call for a porter. Can I have porter to resus immediately for an X-ray, please? Porter to resus.
Thinking about castaway now, aren't they?
Allison's boyfriend and sister have now arrived at St George's.
It was poking through the skin. Oh yeah, no, I felt it. I felt it go sideways.
Orthopaedic surgeons have received her X-ray and plan to operate in an attempt to repair her leg.
Right, so your X-ray shows that you've got a fracture here. Both the bones are broken. So we fix by, what we do is we put a metal rod into the bone,
okay,
so that we make the bone straight. Okay. Now you'll definitely have scars.
How big?
We might have this big scar here, but it all depends on how situation transpires in the theatre.
Eventually I learned that, you know, what's the point in these words making me feel so hurt? Overcoming bullying is hard, but I wanted to be spectacular and I wanted to be myself. And it was at that point I decided that I was never going to let anyone treat me the way that I was treated. And I was going to go and do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it.
Yeah, ready? Need to lift one more time, okay?
She's out at the moment.
I first started modelling when I was 17. You know, having such a hard time with being ridiculed for being different and, you know, looking different and having ginger hair and, you know, liking sports or whatever, you know, all that is. Having someone ask to photograph me as myself it's truly flattering. I like to look at my images and think, this is where I'm at now. I do like to see it as a triumph over, you know, overcoming the bullying. And I'm, you know, more than happy to bear my scars and tell people why they happened.
Allison will be taken to a ward ahead of surgery to give her the best chance of walking normally again.
But it's the pain medication that needs... I don't know if that's just the emergency anaesthetist.
Nursing to me is caring. I've always wanted to be in some sort of supportive role. My twin sister has been very ill with chronic fatigue for some time now, and I find it heartbreaking. She is unable to live her life the way she wants to live her life. I choose and support her because I'm so close to her and I love her very much, and I feel like she deserves that support. And I wouldn't want to do anything else.
All right. Cool. Try and we can, you know, I'll come and step in as much as I can. Thanks.
I sort of don't feel that's something that sets me apart There are lots of people in their homes who look after people who have got illnesses, and they are informal carers. They just get on with it because they love the people that they live with.
Giving you a trauma.
Are we going to theatre today?
Yeah. Right, sir. The things that you need to aware of is there are risks always involved with it.
Doctors are preparing Tony for emergency surgery on the fracture dislocations of his shoulder and hip.
Who do you live with, sir?
Dad.
Mom and dad or your dad?
Well, his mum passed away at her funeral's tomorrow.
Some months ago, she'd been diagnosed with a heart murmur, which could be cured by a simple operation. And she said, if you die, then I might have a heart attack. And then who's going to look after Tony?
Do you understand that? You happy?
She said, oh, it's all right, it's only overnight stay. In 98% of the cases, it is. But unfortunately for my wife, something went wrong and she'd passed.
He needs to go to theatre.
Right, shall we go?
In your mind, it's denial at the beginning that this is actually happening. It just can't be happening. But it did. And it was very lucky for me that I found the one girl, and that was it, the one girl.
Very difficult, exceptionally difficult. I catch myself sometimes when I see a car. Oh, Mum's home. But she's not. I think she was such a big part of her family to everyone. On occasions, I couldn't stop crying. She was always happy, always cheerful, always, you know, like Tony. And that's probably where Tony got it from. Whichever way you look at it, it's so hard because she will never, ever be here again. And how we deal with it, I don't know.
I think generally most people working in healthcare are nice because they want to help people.
What do you like so much about cycling?
It's just so fun, I find, because once you get going, you feel like you're flying. It's really amazing.
When the kick landed, I just could not immediately imagine like how devastating it would be to my life. The physio came the next day and I was up and walking and he was absolutely amazed. You know, nothing stops me now.
Mum made me promise that if anything happened to her or Dad, I'd look after Tony. And I will. I won't ever break that promise. I'll be here for Tony, for whatever it takes.
I have my sister, and she does awesome meals, and I like that. And not flat, she piled it up. And I said to Dad, if we're not careful, we're going to need 2 donuts.
I'm sure Mum's up there somewhere. She's probably looking down. Her favourite saying was, shut up your grizzling and get on with it. So that's probably that probably says it all, really. But yeah, it's been a difficult time. But you get through it. You do get through it.
I was born 6 o'clock in the morning. I was £6.61.
Oh, 666.
Yeah.
Shoot this devil.
Allison Zarzani.
She slipped and fell. She landed on her head.
She's got an expanding hematoma in her head. You want to know about it?
Well, some patients never recover from a head injury.
My children.
Not only would I lose the woman I love, but having to lose the mother of my kids is just unbearable.